Hey, it's Rebecca, and here we are in another Read-athon. And I am here with a very special guest because once again, Kevin is umpiring baseball and could not join me for my readout. And I am here with a listener this time. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. I am Jamie Piscatelli, and I'm a CWO listener extraordinaire.
And a guy whose name I've been pronouncing wrong for many years.
And that's fine. You're on a
Not fine.
I mean, I guess there comes a point where you just stop hearing it that way. So I stopped correcting people.
Well, as I always say, as an Italian, the Italians will be fine. We'll be fucking fine.
I know. And then when I did the DNA thing, I'm only 15% Italian anyway. So thanks for old pals.
All right. Well, we need to talk about what happened today in court and the Karen Read case. But first, I would just love your general impressions of this case. What do you think in terms of it's funny because when I was talking to James Renner yesterday, he was like,
it's a very good interview.
Yeah, he's like, it's really irresponsible to speculate. It's whatever. But I'm just curious, do you have any impressions? Do you have any just general thoughts? You don't have to tell me what you think happened if you don't have thoughts. But what are your just generalities?
I came to this like I come to most things after you seem to be fascinated by it. And I thought, well, maybe there's something here. And when I started reading up in the Karen Read case and following the trial about a week ago, it's just like otherworldly strangeness. Like there's a lot of stuff going on at once for such this small case. And now everybody's so aware of it all over the country now because basically how this case was handled. It's just very shady. I mean, I have my own idea of what might have happened, pure speculation. It's very similar to what you outlined last night with James Renner, where I think it has something to do with, like you said, he went into the house hot. The dog might have attacked him. Maybe it didn't. Maybe he started kicking the dog in defense and somebody defended the dog. Again, pure speculation. But people really defend their animals a little extra sometimes. And I think that's a possibility. But I don't think we're ever going to know. The only thing I know so far from everything I've read or saw about the case is that there really isn't anything that's beyond the shadow of a doubt yet.
Right. I want to add something to what I speculated last night that I don't think I was super clear about. I don't necessarily think that Troopa Proctor is part of some cover-up to protect people. I just think, because I think at least not at the beginning. Who knows what he knows now? That's impossible to say. But his text to his friends happened 16 hours after everything happened. He became involved in the investigation immediately. There's an excellent chance. I still say she may have hit him. We don't know. We still haven't seen the defense experts as of now. I still don't think the injuries indicate that. I still haven't seen the prosecution prove that. Their case seems to be all about defending against the defense, not about proving anything as so far. But his early texts, as gross and awful and irresponsible as they are, don't seem to point to him protecting other people. They seem to point to him thinking she did it and doing a bunch of stuff to point to her doing it and make it look like she did it. So I think that there's a good chance, or a chance anyway, that he was just so focused on making her look guilty.
Yes.
That if he did shady stuff, if he planted evidence, if he manipulated this video, if he did stuff, it was in service of convicting her.
Right. That helping along the guilty verdict that police sometimes engage in.
So it's possible that there are two things happening here. It's possible that there is another culprit and a shady cop who legitimately thinks she's guilty. There's potentially two things happening, right?
Absolutely. I personally don't think that this started with a conspiracy, if there's a conspiracy. I think it was reacting to a situation of a dead cop out in the snow.
Right.
And everything.
Well, a dying cop.
Sorry.
We need to get our facts right. I've gotten a couple of little facts wrong here and there, and I feel bad about it. That's fine. It's not your fault.
But I honestly don't think that this was they all got together and we're going to do this. We're going to hang it on her. But I just think it's like the movie a couple of years ago on Netflix, or the series 7 Seconds, which is a fictionalized account of this special unit in the Newark, New Jersey police. This one cop accidentally runs over this kid, and then they all engage in this elaborate cover-up. And that's it's the cover-up. It's never the actual act or what happens. It's the cover-up. And that's what it smells like here.
Right. That being said, I still have not seen any even today, I mean, today is a great example of a day where it's like, oh, facts look bad for Karen. But today's facts given everything I've seen, don't look as bad as. Okay, so let's just talk about today. Let's just get to it, okay?
Today started in a very strange way. I went to take a pee, and then when I came back, the feed was different. And I'm like, what happened?
Okay.
And there was a sidebar with, I think, 4 women jurors.
Uh-huh.
And then it got reduced. They were questioning one. And then something happened where the feed captured the woman that they were about to, I guess, trying to dismiss. And then everything just cut out, and then when they came back, it was this weird Zoom thing and I guess they actually did dismiss one of the jurors, so that's 2 now. And
we have 2 dismissed jurors, and we only have 14 left.
Is it 14 or 15?
There's 14 left. There's 2 alternates left now. Yeah.
Okay. Because even Jackson at the end today, he like I did earlier, he lost count of how many jurors he had left. Because he said 16 when they were about to.
Listen, Jackson's a bit of a showman. Let's be real.
Jackson is exactly who I'd want to hire if I was being railroaded or presumptuously railroaded like
or
this.
even if you're guilty and he got Kevin Spacey off.
Yes.
He's a good fucking lawyer.
Yes, and it's obvious. I mean, he's combative. He challenges them on anything. And that's kind of, the morning was like dealing with this weird video thing. And this dismissal of another juror, we don't know why. I guess we won't know why until after. Yeah.
He's emotional in the way you want a lawyer to be emotional.
Absolutely.
He did the thing where when he had the underage witnesses, the niece and nephew testifying, he was like, "I'm so sorry they made you do this." Like he's like a movie lawyer. He makes it so not boring. Netty's good too, but Jackson's a fucking star.
Jackson's a standout. Jackson's going to be the Johnny Cochran of this trial, probably.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so let's TikTok through the day.
Okay.
So our first witness today was the state's expert, a digital forensic specialist.
Yep.
Look at you with your notes. I love it. So she was here to talk about the Haas Long to Die in Cold phone search.
Right.
Which was the defense asserts was made at 2:27 a.m. and later deleted, and the prosecution asserts was made like after 6:30 a.m. And Jessica Hyde says her rigorous analysis shows that it was actually made after 6:30 a.m. in a tab that was created at 2:27 a.m. She went through all of this backbendy stuff to explain why, and she was cross-examined. What did you think about Jessica Hyde and her testimony?
I think she's a good witness. Mm-hmm. I think the things that she was describing were very important, but she also, I think on cross, revealed the scope that she was limited to in her investigation and analysis. And that's kind of the crux of what the defense is doing. It's like, you only looked at this one thing. And today, with her and the other guy, there were lots of like DNA OJ trial moments where I'm like, this is all vital stuff, but it's really boring now. Right. And the sum total of her testimony was essentially she couldn't prove exactly. Right. She could prove the tab was opened. And then she got into all this SQLite database stuff where they post temporary data, but she really can't absolutely say with certainty what happened when, other than the tab was opened at 2:27.
Right. Now you are a kind of a tech person, so like I understood that you would maybe understand.
My career path was remarkably similar to Ms. Hyde's.
Yeah.
So I got a kick out of that, but I'm not in the forensic type, and most of my stuff isn't with mobile devices. But I know what SQLite is. I know what hashing is. I know what a lot of the stuff she was going into. But like, if I didn't, I would be really bored with that testimony and not exactly sure of what it meant.
One of my things about the defense here is I think maybe they may have made a mistake in asserting that the search had to be at 2:34 or whatever. Because even if the search was after 6:30 in the morning, that's still fucked up.
Right.
Because one of the things that I think is weird is this this claim that Karen Read told her or asked her to look that up.
Yes.
It's like it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't really fit the other behavior they're describing. That being said, maybe it happened. I don't know. But
it also sort of jives, although she can't conclusively prove it, with what Jennifer McCabe's testimony was.
Right.
That she got this request to look this up, and she did it at around 6 whatever.
Right.
So you see these 2 database entries and these 2 temp databases that have that timestamp.
By the way, the one thing that's really interesting, all these people are like functional alcoholics who stay up way too late and like do way too much stuff in the middle of the night.
Yes. I mean, that's like, for me, that blows my mind every day is like, these were cops letting people incredibly drunk leave their home.
Oh, yeah.
How about
they
that?
Don't care.
Like, nobody points that out.
They don't care.
No, I know, but it's
the whole thing that's so clear is that there's a culture of untouchability in this friend group. And by the way, that also counts probably for John and Karen too. I mean, they were drinking and driving too.
Yes.
So let's not exclude them from that.
No. It's just this is one of those things that when it all shakes out, you're not going to find any true, complete 1,000% heroes.
No.
Everybody kind of stinks to one degree or another.
Right. Okay, so let's move on to our next witness, the state's collision, quote, expert, Trooper Joseph Paul, another bald white guy, which I have now come to believe is a requirement to join the Massachusetts State Police.
I think so. Although he's 5'6", according to testimony.
That's true. He's less of a thumb than he is a pinky toe.
Yes, he's a pinky. He's not quite a thumb. He's a thuh.
But I should not comment on his looks because we do not have any proof that he enjoys commenting on other people's looks.
That's true. Let's not no looks.
So Paul says he's undergone hundreds of hours in service training with the unit. He has investigated 55 crashes. He's been an expert since like 2019. He says something like that. He's not exactly like the expert I think that the defense wants to bring that we've seen on their list. But
and the defense's expert they got through the federal proceedings. I
correct.
think. Am I right about that?
Yes, and the state is trying to exclude their expert, but this is an expert that like the state and feds have used before in their cases. So apparently the defense expert, experts on the defense list are like the gold standard reconstruction experts. So anyway, so he says he went to the Canton police station on February 1st, a couple days after January 29th, to examine Reed's SUV. He went to 34 Fairview. He identified photos in the roadway, yada, yada, yada. Lunch break. Oh my God, the amount of fucking breaks and sidebars in this trial.
There are more than I've ever seen. Not that, like, I'm a layperson. I don't watch a lot of trials, but it's just like, I'm getting like OJ flashback. It's like, the whole insane. Voir dire, I had to remember, like, can you do voir dire during the trial? Oh yeah, you can. It just means outside of the thing. And I'm like, what the hell is going on with this? Like,
that's right.
Like they're bringing in evidence that didn't exist 4 weeks ago. That was the crux of the defense's objections to Mr. Paul or Trooper Paul, was that like essentially this is different from what he originally said.
Correct.
And all of this testimony today that he gave was the byproduct of a meeting he had with the prosecution about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Matter of fact, by his own admission, he never saw this camera footage of Ms. Reed backing up into Mr. O'Keefe's car until he saw it on court TV, I think he said.
So you watched the video stream. I watched a little bit of the video stream, did a lot of reading today. So I want you to explain a couple of things to me if you can. You're going to do a readout to me.
Okay.
There was a moment where he said he didn't include every single piece of taillight discovered at the scene in his diagram of the scene. Is this another one of those moments where we're supposed to like think like these are taillight pieces that got added to the story later kind of situation?
That's how I took it.
Yeah.
It didn't sound plausible. There's a lot of, well, I'm just going to apologize for being a shitty cop. Like, there's a lot of that. Yeah. Which I've never seen before.
Again and again. Yeah.
But, that's exactly what that sounded like.
Yep. And then there's a lot of description of him just examining the car. Like he examined the headlights, he examined the taillights. Basically, he did what amounts to like an state auto inspection and it passed, is what it sounds like.
He basically sounded more like an insurance adjuster than an actual crash, reconstruction expert.
Right.
You know what I mean?
At the time, exactly. And at the time, in early February, he says at that point, the airbag control modules has information regarding the vehicle's speed, steering wheel movements, and brake applications. It provided no data recovered, and that's not uncommon at that point, right?
Right.
So, striking a pedestrian would have little impact on the velocity, yada, yada, yada. And then he talked about the clothing being found, whatever. And one bad fact for Karen here that he said is that taillight pieces in a shoe were found alongside the roadway, which would put the, quote, area of impact close to the road. That seems like a bad fact, okay? So he describes Lexuses to us. Thank you for that. Lexus fact. By the way, I drive, I will admit, to being a luxury car driver only because I'm a car person, not because I have money.
No, I understand.
Everybody, I don't live in an expensive house, but I definitely drive an overpriced car. I have the kind of car that literally would not let me hit a person.
I have a friend who actually got a Tesla because he's such a bad driver. He needed the assistance.
Yeah, we have a BMW that literally will not let you hit a person. Yeah. It's incredible.
It's a beautiful thing.
We just got it, and it You literally cannot hit a person. It's pretty incredible. And I would recommend that in the future, Karen gets this kind of car with this kind of technology. So like if you're like literally like it has this auto park thing. And when you try to park, we once used it to try to park in a restaurant parking lot and there was a box in the parking space and it all of a sudden like went, and it was because there was a box.
It's a sensor and that's what it's supposed to do.
It literally jammed to a stop. It won't let you hit anything.
Technology is a wonderful thing, largely.
Yeah. Anyway, so data from Read's SUV was extracted on February 2nd, 2023, a year later. A year after his initial inspection. And then data captured a bunch of, quote, triggers that connote events such as sudden stops a year later.
Yes.
Thoughts?
Like everything else and all the...
Crack open the can.
Sorry, yes. It's been a rough week.
That's a little bit of Foley for the podcast. It's fine.
I find the delay in how they actually, accumulated this evidence to be problematic on its outset. There's no reason for the delay. Like even the phone stuff from the morning was like, oh, she got an image of she didn't get the actual phone. She got an image of the phone and all the data on it. It just seems suspicious. Either they're incompetent or there's a conspiracy. Me personally, again, this is my speculation. It's somewhere between those two. Mm-hmm. I don't think it started out with they're going to do all this stuff, but it's like the fact that they took so long to get basic stuff from this crime scene is ridiculous, especially all the forensic IT stuff. Yeah.
Well, my thinking is that they thought she was going to plead out. They thought they were going to downgrade it to, again, an accident. Right? Instead of a homicide. Right. And they kept upcharging. So then they had to find votes in Georgia kind of situation. Right.
Right?
So he says what he discovers a year later is that there were a number of, quote, triggers logged between this specific number of miles, 12,665 and 12,666. By the way, her car was pretty new, which I didn't realize, that were related to the testing. And then there were 2 trigger events logged earlier at mile 12,629. Did he, in his testimony, if he did, I missed it, did he say what the mileage was when it was in the Sally ports? Has anyone said that? Because I don't remember that.
Not to my knowledge. I mean, there were a couple times I was away from watching the TV, but I would have thought that. And like, I didn't see it from any of the recaps today either.
Yeah.
Like that's a big point.
Yeah, because if there's a sidebar at that point, I mean, if we haven't established that when she was in the Sally port, her car had 12,700 miles on it, then these numbers don't mean anything to us. Yeah. Okay. So he says that this data set means that her car data is consistent.
Yes.
With a pedestrian.
And that's a very important word. He used the word consistent in a lot of points he made, which means it is not conclusive. Mm-hmm. Consistent is not conclusive. That is a very important distinction, right? And most of the stuff he said was consistent. Yeah. So what does that mean? I don't know. Yeah. Like ultimately, and now, with what happened towards the end of the day. Yeah. So do you know what the schedule is for next week?
Isn't he being cross-examined on Monday? Maybe. Wait. Maybe, we don't know. Hold on. We'll find out. We'll get to that in a second.
My understanding is there's going to be a full session on Monday.
Yes.
And then they're continuing voir dire on these matters on Tuesday.
Okay, so we might not see him on Monday. We might see somebody else.
Right. That's what I think is going to happen because the judge is going to take the weekend to weigh whether or not she's going to allow this guy to continue.
Okay, so put a pin in that for a second.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. No, it's so fine. I just want to talk about what he said because he said a bunch of really boring stuff.
Yes.
And I think in this case, this is not unimportant. And I want to stress this. And I don't believe that boring stuff is unimportant on its face. In this case, boring stuff is unimportant. Because if the prosecution wants any chance of making any headway at this point, they can't bring in a guy who's saying the data set is consistent with a pedestrian strike. So this means that the pedal was down at 74%. The SUV went from 24.2 to 23.6 in less than a second. And he can't say things. That doesn't mean anything.
And let me postulate something and you can agree or not agree. Doesn't the fact that they're going into the weeds with all this shit sort of indicate what kind of case they think they have now?
Maybe.
They're staying with this guy and he's shifting his and it's not going to hold, I don't think.
Well, they said this in their opening statement that they had evidence that she backed up at some high, 23 or 26 miles per hour. They said they were planning on bringing this guy in. I know that they were because they said this in the opening statement. But if this is what they were talking about, this is not.
I don't
right.
think this is the conclusive slam dunk that they made it sound like.
It's not. And so then there's this whole visibility analysis thing.
Which.
So there's he said one thing that I texted you today,
yes.
which was when I asked you if you wanted to come on the podcast. So he's doing this visibility analysis, which he never really explains. I don't understand why he's doing the visibility. He's looking at the cameras. He's trying to see like what you can see from the car. But then he says that he did it during the day instead of at night because, quote, a lot of times when it's an intentional act, visibility is not an issue. What does that even mean?
As a sentient being who hovers around on the surface of planet Earth, it's meaningless. It doesn't mean anything as far as I'm concerned. Like, it doesn't mean anything. So why is he even
looking at visibility? If they think it's intentional and people who do it intentionally don't care about visibility, like, why are we even looking at this shit?
Exactly. There is no reason. It seems like they're trying to spin hay to me. That's what I heard today, time and time again. They're trying to revisit things that are probably going to be massively debunked soon.
But here's what they did. From my understanding, tell me if I'm wrong because you watched the video. They put a boxing punching bag dummy behind the car in the daytime to see if it was visible behind her cameras.
Right.
But she was driving at night in the snow.
And was inebriated.
And wasn't drunk in the night in the snow. They didn't replicate those conditions. They replicated a different set of conditions to see if he would have been visible through that camera. To prove what to the jury when, quote, visibility doesn't matter in these kinds of cases?
It's like you're trying to find something out about a shark and you test a tuna.
That's a very good analogy.
That's exactly what I was thinking when I was watching this crap. It's really like, I don't know what they're trying to do via the jury, but they're saying a whole lot of nothing. And actually, every time they make a statement, it makes their evidence seem less and less credible to me.
Yeah.
Like, I came to this not knowing nothing. I'm like, wow, Rebecca Lavoie said this is a pretty big case. And like, this is insane. I've never seen stuff like this. Right.
And then there seemed to be an issue like with disclosure around this. So there was a sidebar
That's why I was jumping ahead,
Yeah. So was it around this or around the video stuff?
It was around the video of her, Joseph Paul. He basically changed his original conclusions after a meeting with the prosecution about 3 or 4 weeks ago to basically say that he thinks that there was no damage on her car. Sorry, I was saying something different. That there was no damage on her car.
Yeah.
But she still might have hit him somehow.
That's exculpatory. Oh, wait a minute.
It's not
Is that exculpatory?
No, that's what I was asking somebody else. It's more about they violated the disclosure rules.
That's fine, but what
But it's not a Brady thing?
No, it's not. But what is the video? Why were they showing the video of her in the driveway with the O'Keefe car?
Because what they were trying to do is saying that it was impossible. Like in their analysis now, there's no way the damage to her taillight could have happened from that impact.
Got it.
Conclusively. And the defense shot back saying, we knew nothing about this conclusion 3 weeks ago. You're just dropping it on us now.
Yeah.
Those
disclosure rules. Yeah, not Brady.
Yes, both sides said something about being ambushed or something, and the judge got pissed off and was like, I'm sick. I have the impression that the judge is tired of both sides now. Yeah. Kind of. But, I think the Commonwealth sort of sided with the defense on this, agreeing that this should have been part of disclosure.
Yeah. Let me just explain to anybody in the audience who doesn't understand. So disclosure rules are that the prosecution has to show and give the defense any evidence that it has, what exhibits they're going to show, right? That's a disclosure rule, but that's not like mistrial stuff. That's just like rule stuff. It's like they can't admit it if they haven't disclosed it. So that's sort of what that means. A Brady violation is grounds for a mistrial. And a Brady violation would be if they had exculpatory evidence that would be good for her case that they hadn't disclosed. So the reason I was confused there for a second was because you maybe intimated that they were saying that they
sorry, I got my words jumbled.
No, it's fine.
I have been drinking. I am sorry.
No, it's fine. But I just wanted to explain to the audience why I was confused because I was looking at so full disclosure for me. When this was all happening, I work at a public radio station and I was pitching the Fun Drive live where the end of this thing was going on. So I couldn't keep up. So I was counting on you, Jamie. I was you're in charge of the last hour of this, and you're going to read me in. And I was just looking at the blog real quick, and I couldn't fucking figure out what they were talking about. So one thing that I know happened was that, so there was another sidebar. They sent the jury
the jury went
room.
out, and this was probably...
It's like after 4.
Because first I thought, I'm like, oh, they're going to suspend for the weekend, and that's going to be it. But no, they sent the jury out, and then they did the voir dire with this guy, and the defense had their cross on Paul, and
not in front of the jury,
not in front of the jury at all. And basically, what it boils down to, the defense's argument, and I think they're right, maybe without being a lawyer, is that this should have been disclosed. But like you said, it's not a sculptor. It's not something that would absolutely exonerate her, right? So, but they think that the rules of discovery were sort of not followed here by the prosecution. And I think, if I had to guess, on Monday morning, the judge will probably rule to, and it's like parts of his testimony will stay in, but none of this new stuff will be entered in.
Okay, and the new stuff has to do with the video.
Now
him
saying that there's no way she could have possibly damaged the lens of her tail light by hitting into his Durango in that earlier time.
Yeah.
And
did the judge say something in court about she doesn't see the tire moving this time?
Yes, that's towards the end of the proceedings. She mentioned the fact, she asked why there was no movement. This time.
Yeah.
But there was movement the first time they saw it. And then they were like, "Oh, we're just gonna sort of we'll figure all that out later or something." Like, they never really drilled down to that, but she did mention that for sure.
I'm very curious to know. I mean, that made me wonder. Like, are we looking at the same version of the video? I mean, only
how
because
many versions of the video are out there? Do we know?
Listen, I wouldn't ask that question in any other trial. In any other trial, I would be like, "Oh, maybe it was an optical illusion that the tire moved the first time around, right?"
No, but where was all this stuff for so long before they started digging it out of wherever it was? Like, you can't leave. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
So I'll tell you, one thing that I wanted to address, because I've mentioned it a couple of times. I looked into it and I found out about what happened to the Ring camera video from across the street from the Albert's house.
Yeah.
So the Alberts live across the street from another cop. There was Ring camera footage from another cop across the street. It was looked at by a third party who said there's nothing of importance here, and then it was not entered into evidence.
Based on who else's analysis?
Somebody's.
But like, so what? What the fuck does that mean? Somebody's.
I don't know, but anyway. So that's why it's no longer part of this whole.
But to me, it just seems like they're really struggling to shore up what little evidence they got. But to me, it keeps getting back to this. There's nothing there. You know what I mean? Like,
well, it all points to this idea.
Nobody saw anybody hit the guy.
They believed. I really think at the beginning, the investigating cops believed she drunkenly hit him, not on purpose murder hit him, drunkenly hit him, and that it was a cut and dried case. Right? Yes,
it was a slam dunk. So why do any other work?
All of his friends hated her. So even the friends who weren't present at the house provided, whatever shit on her that they needed. And the cops were like, let's just make sure this is tight. And anything that could potentially help her, let's just bury that. And anything that helps us, maybe let's shore it up. So if evidence was planted, if video is missing, if whatever, it speaks to that stuff. And then I think when she got upcharged, they realized they had a problem.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's just,
because
we'll
they realized
the things that help our story. We'll bury the stuff that doesn't, and fuck justice, sort of.
Because when she got upcharged, they realized, oh shit, maybe the wounds don't match our story. Maybe there is something in the house. Maybe she actually has a plausible defense. So we need to make our case stronger.
You just reminded me of something about Paul's testimony today. He did say that he thought that the wounds that looked like dog bites on the victim's arm could have been, possibly from the car impact, maybe.
Oh, yeah, everything. Consistent with.
Right. But he didn't say that the first time, I guess. And that was part of the stuff he was changing, I guess, that the defense objected to.
Yeah. I mean, you can't, it is a thing where you meet with, like, it happens. Like when you work with the prosecution, like things.
And I think that's what the defense was trying to put out there today. Like,
Right.
this didn't exist until 3 weeks ago when they sat down with Trooper Paul and told him what to find.
Right.
Maybe not explicitly, but we're going to narrow you down to this and help us.
Okay, so Jamie.
Yes.
What are you looking forward to next week in the Karen Read trial?
I am looking to see how they rule on this discovery issue on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just looking to see Jackson perform. I'm looking to see the counterattack and the counter argument against all the prosecution's case. Because to me,
can you believe how long this prosecution case has taken? This is the end of week 7.
No. As a matter of fact, there was another thing the judge said today. One of the remarks that she made, Judge Canone, is that her name?
Yep. Judge Cannoli.
Judge Cannoli. Hey, no, no, but Judge Canone said that she envisions the trial being handed to the jury by the end of June.
That's what she said the other day, too. And I'm like, she must know that the defense case is going to be tight.
I think it's going to be. I think starting with, I mean, if they've inherited this from the feds are pretty...
Dude, I'd make it tight as hell. I'd bring in a super sharp collision expert. There are 2 collision experts, very tight. I'd bring in a super tight, like, dog bite person. And I would just fucking leave it there.
I mean, God bless Trooper Paul, but it's like, well, I've been to a lot of accidents and I know what happened. No, you don't. It's like when the NTSB investigates an aircraft crash, those guys are engineers. They know how to build planes.
Oh, I'd also bring in a super tight cell data person.
Yes, absolutely.
I'd bring in a super tight cell data person to talk about why people would destroy their SIM cards. I'd bring in a super tight cell data person to talk about the search. I'd bring in a super tight
just all that stuff. The guy's like, yeah, everybody breaks their SIM card and throws their phone away in 2 different locations.
Oh, it's standard. Don't you?
I've never done that.
I've literally. I mean. Come on.
And I had more reasons to do that than that cop.
Do you know what people actually do with their old cell phones? They put them in their junk drawer.
No.
So that if their new cell phone ever breaks, they have a backup to use.
Right. We have an old Amazon box full of ours.
I have phones from fucking 20 years ago sitting in my junk drawer. Like everybody does. You either turn it in so that you have a trade in, or you put it in your junk drawer so that when one of your kids' phones breaks, you can be like, here, use this shitty one because you broke your fucking phone. You know what I mean? Like
no,
you don't throw it. You never throw a phone in a dumpster. That is not a thing. It's not.
I'll just say this in my cursory observation of this trial so far. Most of what the cops have done defy basic logic in certain ways, and that's one of them. It's just like nobody destroys their phone like that.
No,
unless you're trying to hide what's on the phone. Like criminals are the only people I've ever seen destroy their phones that way.
Well, in the movies, like when they put it on the ground and stomp their heel on it.
Right. I mean, it's just like nobody goes to that unless you really are scared of the phone. Why would you be scared of the phone?
Right.
Unless there's something bad on it.
There might be a snake in it. All right. Well, Jamie Piscatelli. Thank you so much for joining me for this edition of the Read-athon. It's been such a pleasure talking to you about it. Your insights have been amazing. And thank you for doing the Lord's work and watching the stream while I was raising money for my public radio station. I really appreciate you.
Hey, and I'm in the running for the trip to Iceland and London. So there you go.
Oh,
all right.
Fuck yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Jamie.
Very welcome. Talk to you later.
Partners in Crime Media.